Good afternoon. I'm Dara Bunjon. I'm the food enthusiast here at J Moore Living. I'm a food writer, food stylist, PR maven, and a frustrated baker. Those of you joining us live, drop your questions into the comment box, either for me or my guest, and you'll see me turn my head from time to time, checking to see if there were any questions. That's why we do the live show. We want you to feel free to come in and ask questions. Today's guest is a restaurateur, Mark Bucher, co-owner of the highly successful medium rare restaurants in the DMV and one in New Orleans, along with the Open Tables Dinner's Choice Award, Food and Wines listing in the 18 prime steak destinations in the U.S. Mark founded the Feed the Fridge organization that aids with meals to school children, seniors, family, at-risk individuals, and communities where there is food insecurity. It is a network of community refrigerators filled daily with restaurant quality food. So let's see if Mark's ready to jump in.
Everybody, and by the way, there's no such thing as a frustrated baker. I don't buy that. I buy everything you make is delicious.
Okay. Well, we don't have a picture of you, but we definitely have your voice.
Yeah, I'm coming. I'm gonna get my video up in 32 seconds.
Okay. Well, so let me ask you a question. What's on your plate today other than doing the show? You were driving, you parked the car, you're running to do the show. You're a man of many talents. What else is on your plate today?
Being a restaurateur with one restaurant is busy enough. Being a restaurateur with four is insanity. And then when we're running the nonprofit on top of that, it's even more crazy. Hi, here I am.
There you are. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
We got to meet briefly when you had the little opening. It wasn't little; it was a large opening of your restaurant here in the Rotunda, medium rare. I'd like to get into the person's background. I find that the people I have on my show are overachievers, and I want people to know about them and everything. You have three schools that you went to. You went to American University, and you got communications, legal studies, economics, and government studies, all in the CLIG communications program. You went to the CIA, and as you put it down, it's not Secret Service, it's the Culinary Institute of America. Did you go for the full program, or what were you doing?
I did, and I did it part-time when I was working. And I let's just wind back. I had to start cooking for myself at a very young age because my mother was a terrible cook. Love her. My sister and I would have starved had we not started cooking for ourselves at a very young age, and always had an interest in it. And when the cooking shows on PBS started taking off and chefs started becoming celebrities, I kind of got excited by it and really started thinking, do I want cooking to be a hobby or a vocation? And that's what piqued my interest. And then I was working a day job, and I was cooking in restaurants at night, and then went to the CIA. I took months off at a time, 3 months off, 4 months off, 6 months off of work, and we'd go do that. And I was lucky enough to have some flexibility in my life at that time.
Well, I think at one point, because I went to LinkedIn, I mean, it was a beautiful bio that Mark wrote up and sent with the information about the restaurant. Hopefully you'll be back in. Mark, just click out and click back into the link, and I'll keep talking. But the CIA, I actually had an opportunity. I went to the CIA for continuing education classes, and that was for 1 week. And my professor's name, or the chef instructor, was Chef Pate. So let's come back. Hopefully we get you back in on here soon. And more about Mark. I found out in going into his LinkedIn, he had a radio show, and he was involved with let's see, he acted as an adjunct or is still working as an adjunct professor at American University. He's a board member of the National Restaurant Association. He is founder of Feed the Fridge, which we talked about and we'll go into depth, and co-founder of Medium Rare. He's a board member at the Foundation of Hotel and Restaurant Management, and just impressive with everything that he's done. I've just been toting all your virtues and everything that you've accomplished.
Thanks. Sorry, I lost audio for a second.
Oh,
I'm back.
okay, well, welcome back. And let's see, where was I? I said you were an overachiever, and we're getting a little feedback from my voice. Johns Hopkins University Carey Business School. You went and got a degree there.
Yep.
All right, there's a lot to talk about. So let's start with Medium Rare.
Okay.
I saw somewhere that you said locations, that you're going to be opening up locations where there's a football team. Now, you're new to Baltimore. A lot of the restaurants around the DMV, I think you started 2011, and you have one restaurant in New Orleans, a little bit distance from everything here in the DMV.
Yeah.
Why New Orleans?
Well, I've been in this business now for almost 30 years. My background is in commercial real estate. That's how I started my career. And I did a lot of site work, locating sites for other restaurant chains and chefs for 25 years of my working career, really. And the single most important thing about our business is the location. It's not about the food. It really isn't. If you have a lousy location and you have great food, people are not going to be able to get to you and you can't transact business. It really is all about
Location.
Now, by the way, there are exceptions to every rule. And there are, I mean, look, you've got one of the greatest restaurants in the area in the basement of a building in downtown Baltimore, right? Tio Pepe. So it's not always that, but for 99.9% of us, you need to have a good location and you need to have to be able to build your restaurant at a reasonable cost to generate a reasonable business return. And it's a business full of landmines. It's a business full of risks. When 80% plus or minus of new restaurants fail within 3 years, it's a broken business model. So I tried to peel it back and say, medium rare is a very simple concept. We have salad, steak, and fries, and some desserts and a few wines on our menu. How do I simplify the real estate development process as well? So instead of doing this massive study to find out demographics of all these cities and where people live in a certain age group and how often they shop out, and you can spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on that. I said, you know what? The NFL has done that work. Let's just go where there's an NFL team, which means there's families, there's generational families where kids, parents, grandparents all kind of grow up and stay. It's the kind of restaurant we are. And we're just going to take that model and go. And that's what we're doing. So New Orleans certainly wasn't supposed to be first. It was just the first deal we made. And because I've got a simple menu, it made it easy for me to open up. Well, it's never easy opening a restaurant. It made it's not a Cheesecake Factory. So it made it a little more difficult, but not impossible to open up halfway across the country. It's a food town. There's talent, front of the house talent, back of the house talent there that made it easy to staff. We Medium Rare has never had a staffing problem, never had a labor problem. My problem is being able to accommodate as many people as I can in for dinner. So it worked out fine, and that's kind of what we do. One per NFL city with a good lease at a reasonable rent with a relatively inexpensive build out is one of the keys to our success.
The restaurant that you have here in Baltimore is at the Rotunda. It's portion of what used to be Cinna Bistro. I was in. Fresh, clean, wonderful feeling you're in there, but comfortable, casual. And at this point, a person can go in and get the salad, the rustic bread, the steak, the frites, and the special sauce for under $30. Nowadays, that's a steal. The steak you use is a culotte steak. Can you tell people what a culotte steak is?
Sure. So our again, our basic business model is simple. One of the big costs that restaurants face that makes menu items expensive is waste. When they have seafood that goes bad or chicken that goes bad or an item doesn't sell within the amount of time to sell it in, they have to put it in the trash can. And that causes the rest of their items to be more expensive. It's one of the reasons why we all pay 20% or more on credit cards, because a certain percentage of people don't pay their credit card bills. So restaurants got too expensive. Medium rare, by doing just a few things, everything's fresh every day, and there's very little to no waste. And by being able to translate that economic model to our customers, we're able to deliver an exceptionally high quality meal for a crazy reasonable price. We're not trying to pull anything over anyone. This is a prime cut of beef. The culotte is the cap on the prime rib, or the cap of the ribeye. And that is one of the most prized cuts that comes off the cow. And we only buy that cut. We buy millions of pounds of it a year between all of our restaurants, and we're able to buy it reasonably, and we're able to translate that and transmit that back to the customers in terms of value, quality, and taste. You know, every year we win, or we're named on the top steak places in the country. And every year I envision the presidents and CEOs of the big steakhouses, whether it's the Palm, Morton's, or Capitol Grill, in their boardroom going, what is going on? How's this $30 steak place beating us every year? You know, who's getting fired? And we just don't overcomplicate it and stick with what we know.
Well, it's the KISS theory.
Yeah.
Keep it simple. Keep it
Yeah.
simple. Keep it good.
It's really, in any business, it's really hard to look, it's hard to train people in any business, whether it's a restaurant or radio or TV production. You invest a lot of time in training a person to do a job and a task and to do it well. In our business, it's a tremendous amount of investment in training. And in order to keep your people, they need to make a lot of money, but B, not have things change so they're comfortable and they get efficient and effective at it. There's no daily specials at medium rare. We do what we do it really well, and we do it really consistently. And that's the key.
Absolutely. Now,
With the same staff. By the way, my
yeah,
managers have been with us for 12 plus years. Vanessa in Baltimore has been with me 12 years.
there was a gal who at the opening was talking to somebody else, but she opens the restaurants for you.
That's Vanessa.
Enthusiastic. She was talking to them, and she was a great greeting card, or I can't think of the word, but hey.
Right. But you're right. And over the past few years, we've all read and you all hear about the restaurants are facing a labor crisis. Can't afford increases in minimum wage. I'm actually the opposite of that. I think, and we live by this, the restaurant industry is suffering from underpaying employees for generations. And the model should be going back to the way it used to be, creating jobs people want, not need. And, the out of work actor, or the out of work where I got to go work in a restaurant, I have nothing else to do. I want people that want careers in hospitality, and I will train them and I will invest in them to make them better than when they got to us at medium rare. Vanessa, as an example, going on her 13th year with us, applied for a job as a server when she was a student at American University. And we can tell, bright eyes, natural smile, outgoing. That's all I need. I can teach everything else in this business. And we compensate them and treat them exceptionally well. We go out of our way to do that. And that creates loyalty and longevity, which is one of my competitive advantages. It's people walk into one of my restaurants and the manager is still there from 12 years ago. We know your kids that are now graduating high school or college or getting married. But if you
Right.
pay people right and you treat them right, they're going to get the job done for you. And one of my famous examples that I've spoken about is if you put 5 restaurateurs in a room and they need a dishwasher, and dishwashers show up, 3 are at minimum wage and 1's at $25 an hour. They're all scrambling for the minimum wage dishwasher. I pay the $25 an hour. Well, how can you do that? Because you know who's the first person in the building every day? That person. You know who's the last person out every night? That person. You know who's throwing away less silverware and breaking less glasses? That person. And they're breaking less and they're clean and they always show up and they're dependable, which means I don't need to close the restaurant or shut down a section on a Saturday night because I have a dishwasher that shows up. They're the backbone of our restaurant. All that dishwasher's got to do is throw 5 glasses in the trash can every night, and you're paying them $25 an hour in a sense. So just pay them. And that's our philosophy in our business.
Well, it is sure proven to be the right philosophy, for sure. I have to ask you, you have a special sauce for your steak. Did
Yeah,
you develop that recipe with your CIA degree?
I did. Me and my business partner. My business partner does not have a culinary degree. However, he ran prior to doing this a food manufacturing business called Cuisine Solutions. He has he's a super taster. He's got an amazing palate, and he and I worked for a year on our sauce, and we worked with great chefs. It wasn't just us. We had Michelle Richard working with us. We had other top chefs working with us on this to get it exactly how we wanted it. We knew what we wanted. We wanted something craveable. We wanted something not easily replicable, and we wanted something that we could keep a secret. And that's what we developed, the medium rare secret sauce.
Uh, I'm looking at it. It's not quite like brown gravy. It's not quite this or that. Um, the only way I can tell people medium rare here in Baltimore and just said it was phenomenal. They just raved, and one of them has been multiple times. He lives in the area. Um, let's see. Let's tell them that you do dinner at medium rare, you do brunch, and dessert is available at medium rare. They are large, so it's definitely a 3-spoon or 4-fork dessert. I'd like to quote, or I'm not sure it was quite a quote, but I saw it about you, and it says, "You are from hospitality to humanism." Let's talk about Feed the Fridge. You founded the organization, it's feedthefridge.org, and this came about during COVID. So I'll let you tell this story. You'll do it better than I.
Well, the line was COVID made us go from hospitality to humanitarianism, and we've always been part of the community ever since I've been in the restaurant business. I had a chain of burger restaurants that was always part of the community, and medium rare we kind of took it to the next level a little bit. But on March 6th of 2020, there was an announcement made by the CDC that if you're over the age of 65 or you're immune compromised, to stay inside and isolate yourself from others until COVID passed. There was not a recorded case of COVID yet in our area, but it was coming. My father, who passed away at 84, I knew that if he were to become isolated in his apartment, my sister and I would now be worried about how we were going to feed him and get him basic services. He didn't have an iPhone. He didn't have email. He couldn't order Uber Eats or DoorDash. He couldn't do Instacart for groceries. He was unsophisticated. And I put a tweet out, and my tweet said, if anyone knows of anyone in that circumstance, medium rare will deliver a medium rare dinner to them free of charge. Email us at this address. And the requests started coming in. And we figured it out. We didn't say no to anybody. And we started delivering meals to people's homes. And we originally did it with my staff members who we kept employed through COVID. And then we had a legion of volunteers that would show up every night and deliver 2 or 3 dinners to people that we had requests for. The requests came from family members, building managers, friends, caregivers, county assistance programs, because I could get food to people quicker than the government could at this time. They were still figuring it out.
Right.
And we started getting some news coverage, more that we wanted the word to get out saying we have food available for those who need it. And then people started calling and saying, how can we help? We want to donate money. We want to donate time. We formed a 501c3. That's a charitable organization. So we can take donations and people could take the tax deductions for it. But that really allowed us to take it to a different level. So we continued our dinners, which we still do to this day, mostly for the elderly. But when back to school happened in 2020, if you remember, it was a game time decision, a little throwback to the NFL, as to who was going to be in person or who was going to be remote. Nobody wanted to be the first person, first district to say one way or the other, because it was highly politicized. DC said we're going to be remote. They were the first to fall. My first call was to the head of nutrition services for DC public schools. And I said, how can I help? Because now these families have relied on school lunches for their 1 square meal a day for these children, or for workers. There's no food. So I went and we borrowed refrigerators from the Washington Nationals, who we're partners with, and we started placing refrigerators at DC parks and rec centers and outside DC public schools that we would go around every day and fill with medium rare meals. Anyone who wanted a meal got a meal. Those refrigerators are still there today. We now have 29 refrigerators in the DC metro area, DC, Maryland, and Virginia. We're in Boys and Girls Clubs, we're in Parks and Rec centers, we're in Latin American youth centers, we're in Mary Center health centers, public schools, private schools, elderly facilities. And we raise money. We buy meals from restaurants to our nutritional standards that get delivered to these refrigerators every day. For the elderly, we bring meals to them. We actually, through our partnerships with DoorDash and Uber Eats, we arrange meals to be delivered to their door every night. Not Meals on Wheels meals. These are restaurant quality meals that we have delivered to them. The pandemic made our industry really good at packaging to-go meals and getting it. You and I can order sushi now and have it in 25 minutes. We could order Indian food, Mediterranean food, halal. Anything we wanted, we can get. Kosher, we can get it. So we've leveraged that gift that came out of COVID, if you can say something came out of COVID that was positive, to be able to feed people. And that's our goal. We want to end hunger by utilizing the power of chefs and restaurants who know how to cook great meals, nutritiously, no processed foods, nothing frozen, and be able to get that to folks who need a dignified meal. Dignity is the big part of it.
And plus, you're helping sustain these small individual restaurants.
Yeah.
With these meals. They're getting paid. So it's carb, vegetable, and protein. It's about equal portions.
It's 6 to 8 ounces of protein, an equal carbohydrate, and an equal vegetable. There's nothing processed, nothing fried, no white bread. And the meal is designed to keep a child satiated for 6 to 8 hours and keep an adult over the age of 60 2 meals. But the meal is designed to curb hunger. And that's our point. And, we've been sharing our information. When we created our meals, I didn't come up with this. I went to the American Pediatric Association and said, what do growing kids need to be satiated? It wasn't, I can only have $1.75 to produce a meal, which is what our school lunch program reimburses at, which is how we got good at processed chicken nuggets and fried, salty, sugary foods. And I said, I want to pay $6 a meal. Let's come up with a way that we can make this nutritious and curb hunger. And we designed those meals.
Well, that's a big thing. My part is nobody should be going hungry.
Not in this country.
And
Hallelujah.
not in this country. There's so much abundance of things that the waste is insane.
Well, you just hit the nail on the head. I don't know if you meant to do it, but you did it. And it was brilliant. I teach a class at American University, and one of the things that came out of our class last year was the U.S. Department of Agriculture oversees SNAP benefits in this country, and they oversee the amount spent and what is on the program and not on the program, and it's lobbyists and it's money. Big agriculture, the companies that make the seeds and make the fertilizers are their big supporters. Makes sense. However, big agriculture is all about how many seeds can I sell to super hyper produce crops in a country that's got more food waste than anybody. So we've got this overabundance, overproduction of crops that we can't do anything with. We certainly can't get it to people that are hungry. By the way, getting ingredients to those who are hungry in this country doesn't solve hunger. Flash in the, I know, because you got to cook it. And you can't buy a pot, you can't buy a pan, you can't buy aluminum pan, you can't buy seasonings, and you can't buy spatulas on Snap. It's not covered. You can't even buy pre-cooked food. So you have to buy the family pack of chicken on Snap, the 10 pieces of drumsticks. You're only going to cook 2. You may not have something to cook it in. Then you're going to throw it away because you don't want to repurpose it. You don't want it to go bad. The example is there's lots of free turkey giveaways on Thanksgiving, free raw turkeys. You see it on the news every year. None of those folks can cook it. It requires a roasting pan. And the whole week before Thanksgiving, you're watching news stories about don't rinse it off in your sink. You're going to spray salmonella all over your kitchen. Someone who's food insecure is like, I can't afford instant care or urgent care on Thanksgiving week. I'm not going to touch this thing. So they bring it to me. I open up one of the restaurants every year and we cook their turkeys for them for free. Thousands and thousands of people. It's just, if you're going to stop hunger, you got to end hunger. And if you're going to end hunger, you got to give people food they can eat, which is really what Feed the Fridge does. Ready to eat meals. And it's time to rethink Snap and rethink how we support these folks. Give them restaurant gift cards. Give them the ability to go buy cooked food or order food to be delivered at their home. You know, Eli Lilly this morning announced they're going to start selling pharmaceuticals direct to consumers in this country. They're going to bypass CVS and bypass doctors' offices. They're going to have virtual telehealth to get their medicines to people that need it, especially those who can't afford them. It's the most brilliant step ever because people that are food insecure aren't spending money on pharmaceuticals or medicines, so their health is poor. But also it goes to show that big companies can figure out ways to get to end users directly. I challenge Amazon. I challenge Big Ag. I challenge the other food folks. Get food directly to those who need it and bypass the channels.
You're altruistic in many forms and obviously care deeply about this. Now, I want to come around because you're working with another charity per se, Taste of the NFL.
Yep.
Now, what they used to do, this big event the night before the Super Bowl, where they had chefs from all around the country, it's sort of after COVID reshaped itself. And you've been part of that. So you're up there with Andrew Zimmern, Carla Hall, Chef Love. I'm trying to think there's another one. And it benefits the Gen Youth and Student Hunger Fund. Tell us a little bit more about Taste of the NFL and how you became involved with that.
So this is a great group of people. Gen Youth is a group of people that care deeply and want to solve their mission. They use the word end student hunger. I want to end hunger. They want to end student hunger. They don't want to support student hunger. They don't want to support hunger. They want to end it. You know, when you look at other folks when you look at other charities that involve hunger solutions, none of them say we want to end it. They all say we need to raise money. It's getting worse than ever. Gen U says we want to end it. And student athletes are hungry. And kids that stay in after school programs are hungry. And what this does is an active and engaged youth is a kid that's not in trouble. They're busy. After school activities. They need a meal. They need food. They need a snack. Gen Youth aims to fill that gap. Even you heard during COVID, there was a third meal that was allocated from the federal school lunch program. The problem was school cafeterias closed at 3:00. Student athletes were done at 5:30. They couldn't get that meal. The schools wouldn't leave them out afterwards. There was nothing to eat. Gen Youth went and installed refrigerators, carts, kiosks, and made sure these kids had access to food to fill them back up, to give them the energy they need to go home and do their homework. So it's a great organization. Every year, Saturday before the Super Bowl is the big fundraiser for them every year. It's me, Andrew Zimmern, Carla Hall, Tim Love, and we get up there, and it's an event that in the past was televised. This last year and this year, it's a ticketed event. 10, 15, 20,000 people come. We cook, we have fun, we have stations around the room, we feature our items, chefs from around the country feature their items, and we get to talk about how student hunger manifests itself for academics, behavior, sports.
Right.
Kids are more likely to come to school if they're engaged in school and they're full. Kids that are hungry are not going to go to school because they can't concentrate. They're certainly not going to pay attention in school because they can't. Gen Youth and the NFL together are working really hard to change this model. And, with any charity and any cause, it takes political will to make it happen. When you bring the power of the NFL in on a cause, every politician takes the meeting. And every politician has something they want. They will listen. I go in to feed the fridge. I get a meeting, or I get 10 minutes. The NFL gets a day and gets a commitment that we're gonna help. That's the big difference, and that's the power of Gen Youth.
Yeah. I think, was it last year you served a crab cake hamburger?
I have done a crab cake hamburger. I got to
Is
remember what
it
I did last year. Last year we did a chili cheeseburger with Fritos on top of it. And I've done a lobster burger before. This year we're doing a coffee rubbed tenderloin slider. So it's a play on beef. I'm little fun fact. I'm a 4-time world burger champion. I know, go figure. So I know how to make a burger or two, and I know all the secrets on how to make a great burger or two.
right?
Um,
That was the
and
World Food Championship 4 years in a row, right?
yeah, so we take all that and I teach people how to make some things. And it's funny. I think 10 years ago, maybe 8 years ago, Tim Carmen of the Washington Post and I did an NPR show together on burgers. And afterwards, we spent 15 minutes just little video doing burger tips before YouTube was even YouTube. And the last time I checked, it had 4 or 5 million views. I mean, that's Kardashian level stuff. Had I only figured out a way to monetize that back then, it would have been something totally different. But yeah, I mean, I know how to make a burger or two.
Okay. Well, why don't you share 1 or 2 tips to make for people that are making burgers?
Well, you're going to make me do it. The secret of secret is you buy regular ground beef at the grocery store. That's the tastiest. You buy the 70/30 ground beef at the grocery store, and then equal to that, you add in ground sirloin. So you've got 1 pound of 70/30, and then you add in 1 pound of really lean ground sirloin. Mix it together. You have 2 pounds of beef. You add 1 tablespoon of Duke's mayonnaise to the raw beef. And then you combine that and you make your burger patties with that. And then you refrigerate those patties for an hour before you cook them. And when you do cook them, you put your thumbprint in the middle of them so they don't curl up like softballs. And you'll taste that burger and you'll be like, this is the most incredible burger I've ever had. It's really food science working for you, because the flavor in beef is the fat. When you make a burger, it's cooked over high heat and a lot of that fat comes out in the pan. So you lose a lot of the flavor in the cooking process. Mayonnaise doesn't melt. It's a fat that transmits flavor. So you bite into that burger and it instantly tastes like that beefy taste of your grandmother's roast beef or pot roast, because in a sense, we've tricked that protein into retaining its flavor. It just stores it in the mayonnaise and doesn't render it out into the pan. That's the big tip. Don't put salt and pepper in it while you're mixing it up. That goes on top at the end. If you do that, you're going to have a dry burger.
Okay. I just have a comment here from Randy Rom, who was with me when we met. And Randy says, yep, restaurants took care of their communities when the government couldn't get it together. Nice job, Mark. That's from Randy.
Hi, Randy.
So I could probably keep talking to you. You've done a couple of TEDx talks, so I don't think anybody that you're shy about talking. But let's remind people that it's mediumrarerestaurants.com. It's feedthefridge.org. All the connections, social media is up in the comment section for people so they can reach out. And let's go to my wrap-up questions. What's the best bite you had all week?
I just had lunch at the Essen Room.
You were, oh, okay.
So that Reuben, that first bite of that Reuben was the best bite I've had all week.
Okay, so you were in my hood. You're going to bring a medium rare uptown?
I was bringing a close friend of mine up to MedStar. He had shoulder surgery for a follow-up appointment, so we went there for lunch.
They do a good coleslaw
Really nice
Russian
job.
dressing and corned beef. Yep. The pickle bar. They have the pickle bar now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. If you can go back and give your 18-year-old self a piece of advice, what would it be?
This is my favorite question, actually. And I've never been asked this, but here's what it'll be. You ready?
Uh-huh.
Going back to my college days. Any guy that goes to college, three things. One, learn how to play one song on the guitar. Just one. Just learn how to play one song on the guitar. Two, learn how to sing it. Three, tell every pretty girl you see how pretty they look or how nice they look, or nice shoes, new shoes. And then you got to rap. You're good. Song. And oh, and there's one more. Get a foreign accent. French is good too.
Italian.
Italian or French. Guitar song, foreign accent. Tell every pretty girl she looks good, smells good, nice shoes. You're good.
I think it's great. Okay, if you wake up tomorrow morning with a new talent, other than playing guitar and singing with a foreign accent, what would that new talent be?
Pro athlete.
Ah.
Yeah. Always wanted to be one, could never be one. Well, that's not true. My mother wouldn't let me play Pop Warner football, but I was always a big, tall, strong kid. No other kid could tackle me or take me down, but she wouldn't let me play. To her credit, she wouldn't let me play. But I'd go back, I'd want to do that.
Okay, that's interesting. Pro athlete. What was your ultimate culinary fail?
This is another good one. So if you were to ask my wife, she will tell you it was our second date, and I invited her, our third date, and I invited her over to my house to cook dinner for her. And I decided to make Asian. I had my walkout, and I was making stir fry, and I added in some Szechuan peppers, and I added in 10 times too much. It was inedible. And that would have normally blown everything. I mean, the date never would. It was horrible. And she hung with me though. She took me. But that was my biggest fail. That I almost blew my third date with my wife over my cooking.
You pulled out the guitar. What can I say?
That's right. I started singing.
I'm sorry.
Then I started singing along, and that was it. That was a deal closer.
Okay. I'm really enjoying this conversation. All right, my last question. What didn't I ask you that I probably should have?
Well, my weakness is chocolate. Whenever I had a job interview, what's your weakness? Why are you asking me my weakness is in a job interview? Chocolate. You know, no, I think you've covered it all. I mean, we even got into some stuff that you didn't ask in terms of insight into the restaurant business and all that stuff. We at the end of the day, I'm excited to be with you. I'm really excited to be in Baltimore. I've been around Baltimore and loved the city forever. I've lived in the DC area since 1986. Was at opening day, Camden Yards, was at opening day with the Ravens. Love the city. Love the fact that medium rare is part of the reinvestment into the city of Baltimore. You never fold your cards on Baltimore. And it certainly has been through some tough times, but Baltimore always wins. And we're excited to be part of that. We're excited to be at the Rotunda. We're excited, there was no dinner options at the Rotunda before we showed up, really. And now they got, Blackwell Hitch is opening up across from us. We're excited to be part of that reinvention of that area, and reestablishing dinner activity and socialization. And now we got a great movie operator there, and Hollywood movies are coming back, and they're coming back in theaters. And man, what a great time to be there and be involved and be part of the city and the Ravens going to Super Bowl. Ravens 49ers. I said it here first.
Yep. You picked a good time to be here and support the Ravens because they're just doing fabulous. And
look, I'm friends with them. You saw at that event we had, I think, 9 or 10 Ravens there that night. We do a lot for the team and with the team, and thank God they love our food.
Well, man, it's protein, and they can eat it.
Well, look, if they go to the Super Bowl, I'm going to take credit for it, of course, because Secret Sauce is putting them through it. And if they win, I'm really going to take credit for it.
Okay, it's all up to you. Mark, what a joy chatting with you, and we wish you continued success. It's a new year, good health. All the good things should come your way, and for everybody, donate, feed the fridge.
Feedthefridge.org. We don't take it. There's no federal money coming in to feed the fridge. It's all through
And
private donations, and 100% of every dollar raised goes to a meal. There's nothing comes off that dollar. It all goes to a meal.
And I know that you'll be working to set up some fridge in the Baltimore area.
We are actually we have a fridge now that we're ready to deploy in Baltimore. It's actually up at our restaurant now, and we're working with Boys and Girls Clubs up here to find the right location. But that'll happen. We'll let you know probably the next 3 to 4 weeks.
Let us know, and I'll put it in my food tidbits at the end of the show.
For sure.
Mark, big moi.
Thanks for having me. I really enjoyed it. Happy New Year to everyone. Nice seeing you.
Nice meeting you. Okay, everyone, let's sort of wrap this up. Next week's show will be Jonathan Deutsch, professor and director at Drexel University's Food Core Lab, a faculty-mentored interdisciplinary food product design and culinary innovation research lab, solving real-world problems in a sustainability, health promotion in sustainability, health, promotional, and access. I think I left a word out there, but hey, this is me and it's live. But I'm really looking forward to speaking to Jonathan, and I think he's going to support a lot of what Mark has been talking about. Food tidbit. At the end of the year, new year, all these lists come out of, what's going to be new, what's going to be old. So Time Magazine came out with 9 food trends to ditch. 80% of them I didn't even know existed. Tinned fish, the what you might have at tapas in Spain and Portugal, these upgraded fish. They're a small fortune, very good, but a fortune. Ninja Creamy, it's a sort of like a bullet blender. Water bottle collections, like you collect teddy bears, you collect this. People are collecting water bottles, seriously. AI recipe services. Olive oil coffee. Have you heard of that? Not me. Cottage cheese desserts. These are trends to ditch. Ditch all your nonstick. Caviar everything and scooped bagels. Do you know what scooped bagels are? I had to look into it, but they're passé right now, so don't worry about it. Monthly, Jane Moore is giving away $50 gift cards to some of your favorite local restaurants. Visit jmoreliving.com/contest to enter to win. If you need to reach me, you can reach me at food@jmoreliving.com, or my Instagram account is @DaraCooks. Give me a follow. All shows are immediately archived in video form on Jane Moore's Facebook page and jmoreliving.com. Feel free to dig into our video archives of past shows. We truly appreciate it when you share our show with friends and family. May your plates always remain full. I look forward to seeing you next week.